Sam's character, Stuart, could be very conventionally seen as a villain, and I wanted somebody who had a lot of charm and attractiveness about him. And I don't like that sort of very obvious idea of villain at all. It's boring to me. I feel we've all got abilities to be quite cruel in our lives and also to be kind, and I think Stuart's main problem is his ignorance and his pomposity.
It occurred to me that Stuart was someone who has a kind of exterior that's like a shell of self-delusion. What do you think?
She looks tired.
She's stunted, that's one thing. A shell that is shattered by the experience of living with this woman who explodes every kind of conception that he's had about himself and about his place and his future and his present and his universe in general.
With Harvey, who plays Baines, who is the kind of the lover character, I wanted to have almost a sort of beast, you know, mad beast.
Where is she? Shh. What you doing? What you doing? Where is she?
I was also really impressed by the way that he kind of owned Baines, that he really felt he understood the experience that Baines was going to be going through. And I really wanted the actors to claim their characters in that sense, because I felt the characters were so complex.
I want to crush his skull.
No! They had to really decide that they knew who these people were and want to live through them for that time.
There are dangers that these people have to confront in order to understand their identity. Confrontation, they go through conflict, they go through suffering that they go through in order to have revelation, in order to learn something. Get out.
Leave!
They have the courage to confront what they need. Because fear is involved in confronting yourself, and without the ability to suffer, to face up to fear, to face up to anguish, there is no evolving to another place. These characters do that. They descend into a place of hardship and come out in a very loving place. But without that risk, without that suffering, they would not have arrived at this oneness that they share. Love, family.
It suddenly occurred to me that there was an innocence about sex, eroticism and love that it's very difficult for people in this modern age to achieve. We grow up with this, most of us, you know, particularly women, I think men too, with the idea that, you know, one of the great achievements of life is a really full-fledged sexual love affair and relationship, and we read endless magazines about it and books which help inform us, you know, on proper lovemaking. And so something of the innocence of the romantic or erotic impulse has lost. It's hard for us to just fall upon it, for it to be discovered. And the characters in the story are rather blind to what's happened to them, so that they do actually fall across it. Really, the other way I understand myself as a director for actors is changing all the time. And working with those three, I felt that the best thing I could do for them was to create a situation where they could do their best work. And in order to do that, it was to intelligently discuss what they were going to do, to give them an immense amount of freedom, and to create a really substantial trust relationship with them.
I see her as being one of those incredibly enthusiastic people that are in your corner when you're boxing. You know, the people that are flapping the towel at you and, you know, sponging you down and shoving you out to take more of a beating and cheering all the time, wildly cheering.
The physical problems of shooting in some of these locations, which were chosen for their atmosphere and for their bigness, vastness, difficulty, charm, was enormous, and it was frightening to start with because you could see that things could go incredibly wrong.
I was very interested in the first meeting about locations that Jane had with our location finder. They both started talking about the trees in this extraordinary way. I mean, I thought bush was bush, but suddenly it took on a quality of, a kind of mythologized quality, that there were so many different kinds of landscape in New Zealand. And I came to know that and to love that.
It has that kind of harshness and unforgivingness, and yet the same great spiritual invitation to it. You know, the bush is very secretive and very moody, and one time protective and the other time frightening, and I felt that was a great landscape to play with.
Jane is someone who really does push you in terms of keeping that image of what you originally wanted to do very focused in your mind. Really not compromising, really going for it, and yet with a very realistic sense of, you know, what filmmaking's about.